We will talk about the price a little later. We have something new happening despite of this sideways price action. But I would like to mention some of the news in Luxembourg, and it's quite interesting. Luxembourg passes bill to give blockchain securities legal status. And again, this is like a precedent of, many similar things are happening around the world right now. Basically, previously we weren't sure that the officials, the regulatory entities and business, they were not clear about how would you treat the securities on blockchain and whether this thing is actually reasonable and makes sense. But now in Luxembourg, at least, they already passed the bill that states that now we have the certain asset which is digital securities and digital based securities, blockchain based securities, and those are of the same value or the same conditions that the usual conventional traditional securities. And this is the huge step in terms of the adoption of the technology to the global financial world, to the acceptance this as a new product and so on. Very positive. And you see, this is the year of the low price, etc., when we have the biggest development happening in terms of the fundamentals and regulatory perspective. And speaking about that, we have the news about the ETF again. New York Stock Exchange ARCA filing kicks off countdown for new Bitcoin ETF, and basically because of the government shutdown, there was not a proper filing, or that filing was proper, but it wasn't announced in expected manner. But now they have everything set, and we have 240 days before the last decision from SEC about the approving or rejecting this ETF. And this ETF is also quite interesting in terms of they actually proposed the tracking of certain called Bitcoin Total Return Index, which will not only take into account the price of Bitcoin, but also the hard forks will be taken into consideration, and also they will support these funds, these ETF contracts, with spot prices from exchanges and physically settled future contracts. This again should make quite of the impact to the price of Bitcoin on the spot, because the demand will be higher. And also, speaking about this ETF thing, we had a lot of the speculation about the ETF effect on gold, and a lot of comparison because of this price of gold and Bitcoin price, and ETF was somewhere right here, so we expect ETF for Bitcoin here, and it will rise the same way as gold did. Well, actually this was quite a long time ago, so we had something like this when price went down, it's even more. So, but again, the time scale is very different, so it's speculative issue of how you put these peaks and where should it be compared to the gold ones. But interesting that if you look at the price of gold recently, well, not recently, but at least comparing to the evolution of the price of Bitcoin recently, then you would see that indeed it looks very similar. And even if you would assume that this was the area of Bitcoin at $6,000, then we dropped and we have something like 3,150 here, and then we have a correction upwards, then we went down again, and this was a second sort of semi-bottom, and then we continuing to go to the upside. And very similar to what is happening with Bitcoin. Somewhere on here, 2003, there was in an ETF, so would expect this to happen with Bitcoin. If it would be, then you may think that, oh, this is a complete repetition of what happened with gold. So very nice. Gold is Bitcoin is digital gold. This is the physical gold, and everybody happy. Of course, should be noticed that a lot of the institutions probably knew that the ETF will make such an impact and will be proposed and accepted, and that's why they were buying gold around those areas, this area, and probably after that they made a lot of gains. So maybe the same is happening right now with Bitcoin. We have a lot of the indications of that. The only thing which is different is that Now it's a lot of FUD. Well, I'm not sure how people are thinking about the gold, but probably not as bad as about Bitcoin. And people in Bitcoin space are thinking that, oh, we need to go lower, or we may not never touch $20,000 anymore, and so on and so forth. And I have some interesting analysis on TradingView about this. Actually, well, there's a lot of speculation, but just I want to mention this one. This guy is saying that if you have, again, different time scale on Bitcoin and gold, and Bitcoin is faster because it's digital age, and everything. So we have this wedge, which was broken downwards. We have this accumulation zone around here as well. We have the MACD is very, very similar that what it was before for gold, and now this very close similar behavior to what we have for Bitcoin. We have the Fibonacci retracements acting very similar in similar manner. So he says that we had ETF here, so we may have ETF here for Bitcoin, and then will price go up, up, up. The only bad thing I would say is that even if you would not use the inflation adjusted price for gold, then the rise from now, like, it's not that big a change, like, I don't know, 6 times. So we'll have maybe $20,000 again. And actually for Bitcoin, if you'll follow this analogy, and also if you will adjust inflation, then yeah, it's basically reasonable. It's basically the same rise. But you see, we want Bitcoin to have it being like $1 million per Bitcoin. So I would say this is not a proper analogy, just the guide for where we are headed to. Okay, let's look at the price right now. And what we are seeing is that we have some signs of the reversal in terms of this sort of downwards movements. Despite we were moving sideways, it's still sort of having like slope to the downside. And whatever you build this triangle or wedge, it seemed to be like you can't really build it in a way that it wouldn't be broken around here. Interesting that it touched the 3,546, $47, and it was in a perfect match with the Fibonacci retracement, which we drew from the bottom and the top on the previous low and high. And after that, it also was this support level. So these two pretty much overlapped, and at that point we have some of the volume, some huge candle here, and then we bounced from that, and now we are seeing the move to the upside, and we are hovering around $3,600 area, and this is also the signal that we will probably break it eventually. And as soon as we broke this resistance line, we had this strong candle with a huge spread, and some volume started to appear. Of course, it's not that big, but anyway, and we probably would expect this to happen as the real breakout. This was the very low bottom before, volume before, and now we have something at least. So very likely that we are seeing here 1, 2, 3 higher highs, 1 through 2, 3. I wouldn't consider this one higher lows, and this is the trend to the upside. Now finally we have something like change that, and yeah, if you would expect the new rise from this $3,600 from here, when everybody were expecting the continuation of the growth, everybody changed their mind. So initially they thought, okay, we're going to the new low and everything is gone. But now, because it was too many expectations that the price will go up, so a lot of people were long, and it's not reasonable to the market to follow the majority. So it's more reasonable to make them like lose interest and expect the correction to continue, and then when it will happen, then actually it's time to start to go upwards. It's now it's one of the longest period happened recently in terms of the sideways price action. Maybe this was a bit longer, but in general it's like about the time to make a strong move. And also we're approaching to the end of this triangle, huge triangle. Something should happen eventually. Probably if we'll go up, we will need to have a sort of a pullback from this level, the line, resistance line, and after that we may continue to even could make a drop here, but then I would expect this to be broken upwards. And yeah, that's the main point. Generally, a lot of the altcoins are showing some strength, and they are holding their levels. And I should mention the Tether, regardless of the way people may think about it, but there is a strong correlation of Tether price with Bitcoin. And here we had like somewhere around here, we had this drop of Bitcoin price, and then we had the correction upwards to $4,000 something, and then Tether was somehow consolidating around this area, and then here, and then we went to the finally to the dollar plus something zone, and that was a lot of the gains were for altcoins, and Bitcoin still was very high. And then we see the downtrend for a while, and the Tether was also in a downtrend. So, and now it's actually showing some like reversal, and it goes again to the positive zone, and it happens before Bitcoin is doing its things. So probably it's a not so bad indication of the general trend, like medium-term trend in Bitcoin price action. I would consider this at least and pay attention to that. Okay, guys, that is pretty much it for today. Thank you for watching, and hope it was useful. See you tomorrow in the next update. Goodbye. Safe trading.